will be given an opportunity to be heard. And when you hear your name, please come up to the podium and tell us your name and address. Application number 50-26, Daniel and Pamela Wood. Permission to leave patio and driveway on side property line, not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence B District, south side of Union Boulevard, 213.8 feet west of Nassau Avenue, Islip.
Is that on? It's not on, hold on.
We want us to hear you, don't you? You've got to turn the mic on.
Thank you. Pamela and Daniel Wood, 2680 Union Boulevard, Islip, New York, 11751.
Good evening, you here for the patio and the driveway?
Yes.
All right, any questions from the board?
No question.
No. Planning, any comments?
No comment.
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard in this matter? No. All right, I'll take a motion, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to grant the application.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Application's granted. Have a good night.
Thank you
very much. You do the same.
Application number 51-26, Paul Kraus and Amanda Kraus. Permission to leave pool patio having rear yard of 4.5 feet instead of required 6 feet. Residence AAA District, east side of Salt Meadow Court, 443 feet north of Salt Meadow Lane, Bayport.
Evening, Brian Butler, 100 South Main Street, Suite 209B, Sayville, New York, for Mr. and Mrs. Kraus. Good evening. Yes, Your Honor.
No comment.
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard in this matter?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Application number 52-26, Roxanne Johnson and Kenneth Johnson, co-trustees of the Roxanne Johnson Family Irrevocable Trust. Permission to leave deck having side yard of 4.8 feet instead of required 6 feet, shed 1 having side yard of 2.4 feet and rear yard of 2.1 feet, and shed 2 having side yard of 3.6 feet and rear yard of 2 feet instead of required 4 feet each. Residence B District, east side of Carl Drive, 375 feet north of Damien Street, Bayshore.
Roxanne and Kenny Johnson, 1085 Carl Drive, Bayshore, New York, 11706. And we've lived at our house for 46 years.
All right, and you're here to legalize some decks and sheds?
Yes.
All right, any questions from the board?
No questions.
Planning, any comments?
No comment.
Is there anyone else that would like to be heard in this matter? I'll take a motion, please. A second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Application's granted.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
Application number 53-26, Jose Niola Puma. Permission to leave basement entrance 5.5 by 16.9, having side yard of 12.6 feet instead of required 18 feet, and egress window having front yard of 30.4 feet instead of required 40 feet. Residence AA District, southwest corner of Willoughby Street and Glenmore Avenue, Brentwood.
Your name?
Jose Niola,
Are you, Puma, you the applicant?
Yes. Just
Jose M. Niola Puma,
Thank you. And your address, sir? What is your address?
4 Willoughby Street, Brentwood, New York, 11717.
All right, and you live at that address? You live at that address?
Yes, I live in this
Okay,
area.
thank you. And you're here for the basement entrance and the egress window?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No questions.
Planning, any comments on this?
No comment.
Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard in this matter? All right, I'll take a motion, please. Second, please. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the application's granted.
Thank you.
Application number 54-26, Michael and Ann Osterloh. Permission to erect roofed-over porch leaving side yard of 9.4 feet instead of required 18 feet. Residence AA and Business 1 District, north side of Middle Road, 549.8 feet east of Foster Avenue, Sayville.
Len Crick, Island-wide Permit Services, office at 86 Center Street in Ronkonkoma. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The house at 237 Middle Road in Sayville currently has a front deck that also wraps around along 15.5 feet of the dwelling's east side. Pictures submitted to the board include a 1960s, 1970s era photo provided by the Sayville Historical Society. That photo does show the wraparound porch in the same location with its original roof over still in place back then.
Was it legal back then?
I'm sorry?
Was it legal back then?
Yes.
What's the year that?
Well, that photo goes back to 1960, 1970s. And since a lot of the existing decking is at least 50 years old and deteriorating, the owners would like to rebuild it with the same dimensions while maintaining the same existing side yard setback that's been in place for over half a century. The only change in our request is that the Osterlohs would like to restore the porch with its original roof over. We also feel that the proposed rebuild remains in character with the neighborhood along this stretch of Middle Road. There's several narrow lots dealing with tight side yard setbacks. Matter of fact, the three immediate properties to the west, 219, 225, and 231 Middle Road, all have detached garages with little or no side yards.
I'm sorry, Mr. Crook, you said you have photographs you submitted from the Historical Society.
Yes.
Would that be these photographs? But we don't know which are yours. You have to understand that the building department goes and takes pictures for us, so we don't know who's in whose.
It would be the, I guess the second page, the bottom photo on that. Kind of like a,
This one right here?
yes.
And you're saying that is from when?
It was.
It looks older, but apparently it's from the late 60s, early 70s.
So maybe it was down by then.
I'm just curious, how would we date these? They look like photographs, I don't know, I mean, you say it's from the 60s or 70s. Often there's a car or there's manner of dress
the house
or
built?
style, or, but
1870.
is there some indication you tell us this is from
Oh,
the
there's the
60s or
porch.
70s?
This is what the owner told me.
Probably not true. I don't know. Maybe it got rebuilt.
Planning, any comments on this?
So, a couple of things to note about it. It does show on the CO here, side porch, front porch. That is on their CO, CO'd in 1971 approximately for a certificate of compliance, which would kind of correspond with what he's saying there. It's also worth pointing out that this is in a row of houses, all with very narrow lots for the area. This isn't even the only roof over porch that'll have a very deficient side yard. I think their next door neighbor has one at around 4.5 to 5 feet for a roof over porch. So it's not really out of character with this particular area regardless. But I do think that it would be correct to say that it was roofed over at a time legally, from what I can tell.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No questions.
No, is there anyone else that'd like to make a comment on this matter? All right, then I'll take a motion, please.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Application's granted.
Thank you.
Application number 55-26, Arthur Konarski. Permission to leave patio on-side property line not having a required setback of 4 feet and greenhouse having 5 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of required 20 feet. Residence AA District, east side of Nugent Avenue, 200 feet south of Lakeland Street, Bay Shore.
Hi, good evening. Arthur Konarski, 1080 Nugent Avenue, Bayshore, New York, 11706.
All right, and you're here on the patio and the greenhouse?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions from the board at this time?
Nope.
No, you don't know, we don't have any? Planning, any comments?
As far as the greenhouse, I believe it is sized in such a way that based on the updated code, it would need 10 feet, not 20 feet.
Okay.
It is small enough for that as far as I had measured. Obviously, a lot of the denials that'll be coming in the next few months are prior to that, so we'll be dealing with that for a bit still, but it should be, rather, it would need 10 feet based on current code, which 5 feet is still not 10 feet, but that is what it would probably need.
What do we do with that? Right away, we get 5 feet, right?
Yeah, is it small?
Is it a permanent greenhouse?
Actually, no. You can remove them, but it's hard to remove, really. If it's solid wood. Actually,
Someone else want to be heard in this matter? Want to speak in this matter?
Hi, I'm Shmaila Shoaib from 1532 North Thompson Drive, Bayshore, and I am living behind of his house. And I know he have a very big yard. If he want, it's okay. Yes, I am in favor. You're welcome.
No, no further comments.
thank you so much. Good night.
Application number 56-26, Cuchilla Property Holdings LLC. Permission to leave second-story deck with stairs having front yard on a through lot of 34 feet instead of arterial highway setback of 60 feet. Residence B District, north side of Arthur Street, 90 feet west of Washington Avenue, through lot to Express Drive South, Brentwood.
Good evening, Jose Cuchilla, 55 Arthur Street, 11717.
Good evening. You're here on the second-story deck, correct?
Correct.
All right. Planning any comments on this?
Yeah, they have an arterial highway setback thing here, so there's the Long Island Expressway Service Road. They have a giant sound wall separating them from that service road. I don't think anyone's gonna be bothered by this.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
No questions. No
No?
questions.
Is there anyone else who would like to be heard in this matter? I'll take a motion, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Application is granted.
Thank you.
Application number 57-26, Lee and Valerie Balkow. Permission to leave hot tub having side yard of 4 feet instead of required 14 feet, and driveway on-side property line not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence A District, east side of Sandra Avenue, 2,100 feet south of West 4th Street, through lot to Robert Moses Causeway, West Islip.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Thomas Bloor, the architect for the project, 60 Carlton Avenue, Suite 202, Islip Terrace, New York, 11752. So yeah, the intent of this application is to legalize the existing hot tub and driveway, requesting the side yard of 4 feet to the hot tub instead of the required 14, and then the side yard of 0 to the driveway instead of the required 4. The hot tub was installed around 2012. It's surrounded by a solid wood fence. Behind that is a solid white PVC fence, and behind that is a row of trees, so it's completely not visible from the neighbor's yard. And the driveway, I don't have a date, but my client purchased the home in 1998, and the driveway was existing, does slope towards the street, has a raised Belgian block border, so it doesn't cause any runoff to the neighbor's yard. If the board should have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have, I'm sorry, Mr.
Go get 'em.
I have a question. 4 instead of 14. That's, my rough estimate is like a 70% relaxation. In my mind, that's significant. That's not, or that's substantial. Do you have any precedent for that? So we could say, oh, we've done that a dozen times.
I didn't, and I think the hot tub's pretty old. I mean, 2012, what is that, you know? So I don't know how much more life it has in it. I know if, you know, they had to get rid of it, they'd be happy to move it to a conforming location. You know, they told me that when they bought the hot tub in 2012, they didn't realize they needed a permit, and they just kind of put it there and
Well, if they're
surrounded
willing
it.
to move it, then that would make life easier.
I don't think something that old would be worth moving, you know what I mean? It's 2012.
Well, then, they don't want to move it, then what's the alternative?
What's the usual life of a hot tub?
I just feel like that's 10 years. I mean,
Why
2022.
don't they just remove it?
We could. I mean, this came up as part of a big addition on the house that conforms with zoning, so.
All right, so, okay.
Planning, you have any comments for us?
As far as the hot tub is concerned, hot tubs have the same setback as what a above-ground or in-ground pool would based on our code, because that's how they're classified. Were it to be a normal accessory structure, 4 feet would actually be conforming because it's not a very large structure. So really the concern with a hot tub, or really the only concern would be how much noise or activity it generates that may bother the neighbor. That's really the only thing that is of concern here because it's not a very substantial structure in of itself. That being said, that's a bit of a hard thing to determine as to whether or not it would or would not be a nuisance to the neighbor being that close to them.
Depends on what's going on in the hot tub.
Does. Can do a lot of things in a hot tub.
Well, looking at the aerial, it looks like, I can't tell really what that is. It looks like the neighbor might have a hot tub right on the property line too.
No, the neighbor's my client. He has no objection to it. I designed his addition as well.
My only concern is,
Might be a fire pit. I don't know.
gathering them,
Uh,
motor, and then there's probably no precedent. Do we want to create, say, okay, 4 to 14? I don't think that's healthy. Plus, in this case, it's old, they're trying to remove it anyway.
Well, I think the planning's comment, if you want, I'll hand up some pictures just showing you like the sound buffer that's, it's all on page 2. Kind of folded the first page for you, but. I mean, it's literally, well, the driveway. Yeah. If you look at page 2, you'll see it's surrounded by solid fencing. It's not, you know, it's buffered pretty good because it's 2 sets of solid fence and a row of trees to the neighbor.
I don't know if it's that explicit, but I would say that that's probably the primary concern as for why we have different setbacks, for instance, for a pool rather than just an accessory structure, is that they tend to generate activity and noise.
They needed a foot, 1.5 feet, 2 feet, that's one thing. They need 10 feet, 7 feet. If I was an architect,
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Application number 58-26, Charles and Annette Ingui. Permission to leave in-ground pool having side yard of 13.1 feet and rear yard of 16.4 feet instead of required 18 feet each. Patio on-side property lines not having a required setback of 4 feet each. Shed having side yard of 3.6 feet and rear yard of 3.4 feet instead of required 4 feet each. Pool equipment having side yard of 1 foot and rear yard of 2 feet instead of required 6 feet each. And pool patio on side and rear property lines not having required setback of 6 feet each. Residence AA District, south side of Erie Street, 102.27 feet west of Pine Avenue, Ronkonkoma.
Good evening. Annette and Charles Ingui,
Speak into the microphone.
750 Erie Street, Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779.
All right, so you're here for a number of things, right? Planning, what do you have for us, anything?
Let me get my bearings here. Don't have too much to say about this. I don't think anything here individually is all that bad. The pool's been there since, from what I saw, at least 2001, probably a bit earlier than that, in exactly this configuration. I don't know who installed it. Obviously, it was done without a permit at the time. But yeah, nothing here individually is too bad. It's a little bit much in totality. That's why the call is so long, but nothing individually stands out as problematic to me.
Okay. Any questions from the board? No questions. No? Is there anyone else who'd like to be heard in this matter? All right, then I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the application.
All in favor? Aye. Application's granted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Application number 59-26, Victor and Alice Luca. Permission to leave one-story addition, 8.3 by 20.9, having side yard of 13.5 feet, and roofed-over entrance, 4 by 6, having side yard of 10 feet instead of required 14 feet each, and patio on side property line not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence A District, north side of Whitburg Street, 406.25 feet east of Broadway, Brentwood.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 231 Islip Avenue, Islip, New York. We're here tonight to maintain a one-story addition and roof-over entrance that was under permit 48005 issued in 1999, but unfortunately that permit was never finalized at the time. And we're also here for a small patch of peepers. It's probably like a small 10 by 10 area on the side yard of the property.
Application number 60-26, Bernardo Moreno, Mirna Paz Fuentes, and Diana Moreno. Permission to leave two-story dwelling on lot having width of 54 feet instead of required 75 feet, and area of 5,383 square feet instead of required 7,500 square feet, side yard of 4.5 feet instead of required 14 feet, and total side yards of 20.2 feet instead of required 28 feet. Residence B District, north side of Elmore Street, 230.56 feet west of Carlton Avenue, Central Islip.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Roxanne Trella, Dynamic Expediting Services with offices at 231 Islip Avenue, Islip, New York. So we're here for the two-story dwelling. The dwelling, they're considering it a reconstructed dwelling due to the interior alterations that were completed on the home. The first story has a side yard at 4.5. It is on a sliding scale and does increase at the top corner. And the second story is slightly indented and actually maintains an 8.6-foot side yard instead of the 14 feet that was required. This dwelling was built in 1939. Prior to 1952, Residence B did have a side yard setback of 4 feet. And was changed at that point to 10 feet, which is why this dwelling was constructed having a 4.5-foot side yard. Well, it's on the CO as of the 50s, and it was made bigger, but the original the first available survey that we have, I believe, is from the 70s and shows the dwelling in its exact location. Well, I think the proof is that the side yard setback at that time was 4 feet. So most of the houses in this area were built favoring one side of their lot line, and most of them do have a 4-foot setback, 5-foot setback. I think the biggest setback we saw in this area was 6.1. We did have a prior application just around the corner that we did. Yes. Unfortunately, in this little area, it's about 2 or 3 blocks. All of these houses have very diminished widths of lot, and all their side yard setbacks are pretty small. Right, and actually, it helps this application because most of those other houses have small setbacks on both sides, where at least on our application, we are able to comply on the other side, and it's just the existing setback for the original dwelling. They get some brownie points, I think.
I would just corroborate that. This is a neighborhood that has a lot of very deficient side yards. At the time, it was just developed a very long time ago. And I wasn't paying attention to the start of that, I apologize, but it is noteworthy at least that the second-story addition does cut in. So that's not at 4.5, it's at 8.6, I believe.
8.6.
So the actual part of it that is new and isn't just being reconstructed, so to speak, has been at least brought in somewhat. But again, it looks very bad on paper. This is effectively the nature and character of the area.
Thank you.
Application number 61-26, Volodymyr and Velena Hrenik. Permission to leave one-story addition to detached garage having side yard of 0.5 feet instead of required 10 feet, having interior walls in violation of Islip Town Code Section 68-3 definitions, and to leave 4-foot fence in driveway site distance triangle exceeding permitted height of 3 feet. Residence A District, south side of Roslyn Street, 280 feet east of Cunagunda Place, Islip Terrace.
Roxanne, I might be reading this wrong,
Hold on. So the detached garage was built in 1925 and is reflected on the CO. There was an addition put onto the rear of the detached garage, and that small addition actually maintains more than what's required. Yes.
Is that small addition where the interior walls happen to be located?
Nope, that actually is all one open space. It doesn't have any access into the rest of the garage. The original garage has some division in it. They basically divide their storage, so she has like one room just for tools, one room just for holiday decorations, one room for bikes. I did take some photos, just if you wanted to see the interior. They purchased the house with the garage the way it is, probably, believe it was like over 10 years ago.
Like, if the interior walls of the garage have been there for 10 years, and it's a relatively new code provision, isn't it?
It's 2023.
So why is it here?
It's a great question that I don't have a very good answer to, unfortunately.
You know, a similar argument could be made for the setback of the garage that's been on the CO for a while.
Which I would agree, the setback was existing, it is CO'd. The addition was out the back. That part of the building that was the addition is not at 0.5, it's conforming. I don't think it should even be addressed. I personally would recommend striking it from the call, because I don't think it should be granted, because I don't think they need it, and I spoke with zoning and they agree with me. That's the only part of this that's still technically relevant, as far as I'm concerned. I'm not 100% sure, because there's multiple fences in this, next to this driveway. One of them is a wrought iron fence that I think has decent visibility, so my suggestion, if the board saw fit, that the wrought iron fence is not a site obstruction, which is ultimately up to you, would be that that be denied with the exception of that part of it that is wrought iron. That could address all of the potential factors. That and there's a PVC fence that's next to them that I think is technically on their property, which would also be, it's a solid object. According to the representative, it is the applicant's fence. The PVC fence.
Yes, I actually just sent up a photo so that you could distinguish between the PVC and the wrought iron, just because the way it's written up, we were a little bit confused on what fence
It
they were
doesn't do a
even
lot to
talking about.
specify which thing we're talking about, so that would be my suggestion.
They own the PVC, so it's 6 feet, and then they slide it down to 4. I did speak to them about, in that one portion of the site triangle, bringing that solid PVC fence to 3 feet. The columns, I think, would be a little bit harder to bring down. I believe so. Okay. Do you think that zoning would need some clarification regarding the iron fence? Okay. 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 Mm-hmm.
Again, just to clarify, I don't think they need the setback for the garage either, or the shed, whatever it is.
Just in case they don't send me back here.
Does that make sense? Yeah, I don't
Although
think
I
that
do
makes
love
sense.
coming here, just not for the same application twice.
I mean, I already spoke with the building department about it, but yeah, sometimes.
Well, what we could do is just render it in your application with the board noting that the one-story addition is well over 0.5 feet from the side.
Whichever way, I just don't want it to be that it says 0.5 feet granted.
Yeah, we're good.
All right.
Good, okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Oh, boy.
Application number 62-26, Dwayne Burrows and Marcia Burrows. Permission to leave pool patio having side yard of 6.5 feet instead of required 10 feet. Gazebo having 4.5 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of required 20 feet. Driveway having rear yard of 3.5 feet instead of required 4 feet. And front yard occupancy of 102% instead of permitted 40%. And to leave 4-foot fence and driveway site distance triangles exceeding permitted height of 3 feet. Residence B District, northeast corner of Fifth Avenue and Claremont Avenue, Bay Shore.
Hi, good evening. My name is Samoy. I'm the authorized representative for Dwayne and Marcia Burrows.
Just speak into the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Samoy. I'm the authorized representative for Dwayne and Marcia Burrows. We're located at 1729 Fifth Avenue. I just wanted to note that since we gotten the application, we did start removing the asphalt that's in the front on Fifth Avenue. So there's supposed to be 2 driveways. It's not being active because it's on a main street. So we did start the process of removing the asphalt to potentially reduce the percentage because it says 1 or 2. Yeah. Oh, it's not stationary, so we do intend to move it if it's definitely, I'm sorry? Like it can be picked up and relocated if it needs be.
I'm sorry, what? Yes, most likely, yes. I don't actually have that written down. Yes, it would need 10 feet.
It's 10 by 12.
So yeah, it's less than 144, it needs 10.
Okay. Okay.
It's a chain link fence.
Yeah, and it's been there since we got the property in '23, and based on like Google searches, it's been there since 2009. So it's been pre-existent since we bought the property.
Yeah, it's not accessible. It's not functionally a driveway anymore.
Yeah, we already, just break up the asphalt that's there because it was pre-existing, so we just started the process. The intention is to put the grass, to landscape it. Mm-hmm.
I'm the number guy now.
60%, 65%?
You want? So, I would think that's a lot, but. It typically depends. Okay, so. Sure. Normally, the board would give 45%. You can tend to be more generous with things near busy roads. The driveway is not on Fifth Avenue, but there's probably is a lot of traffic in the area, so I think going above 45% would be reasonable. Probably somewhere between 50 and 55, whatever you feel like between there. I think I do know what that would be. It would be 64.4%. Which exceptions?
Heavy traffic and the traffic, just put them on the record.
What are we doing with the side traffic?
Yeah. Yes, we're gonna reposition it. Thank you. Have a good night. Thanks. Oh, sorry. Sorry. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Application number 63-26, Alexander and Nicole Ramos, permission to erect second-story addition and portico, leaving side yard of 13.7 feet instead of required 14 feet, total side yards of 27.7 feet instead of required 28 feet, and floor area ratio of 30.29% instead of permitted 25%. To leave hot tub having side yard of 12.5 feet instead of required 14 feet, shed having side yard of 0.4 feet and rear yard of 0.5 feet instead of required 2 feet each, patio on rear property line not having a required setback of 4 feet, and rear yard landscaping of 21.9% instead of required 40%. Residence A District, west side of Center Bay Drive, 40 feet south of Bay 5th Street, West Islip.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Charles J. Broody, architect, 30 Bethesda Lane, Sayville, New York, 11782, representing the property owner.
Mr. Broody?
Yes, sir.
You know our rules.
I know.
You're very precise. Why not give us 30? Why do you give us
I
30?
tried every way to get this to 30.
Is there precedent?
Yes, there
It's
is.
Babylon
If
Beach
you
Estates.
speak to Nick.
Oh, Babylon Beach Estates.
Yeah.
30.29.
It's fairly modest for that
Well,
area.
yeah,
That's showing restraint.
I think Nick will enlighten us.
Yeah, so as he's saying, Babylon Beach Estates is somewhat infamously an area where effectively nobody conforms. There are multiple decisions rendered by the board above what is being requested. It is very much in the character of the area.
That's for the balance of the application.
The only thing here that really stands out as not being probably in the character is the rear yard landscaping.
Yeah.
Right.
What have we been doing, Mr. McKay?
We've been doing 32.
32.
Can they do 32 on the,
Yes, we can.
is there anyone else who'd like to be heard in this matter? All right, I'll take a motion for West Islip.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we deny some of the applications, 1621.9, instead of 40 in the rear yard. Landscaping for grant 32% and grant the remainder of the application.
Take a second. All in favor? Aye. Application's granted.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Application number 64-26, Mark and Marie Collin Eugene. Permission to erect roofed-over porch, leaving front yard of 24.9 feet instead of required 40 feet, and side yard of 7.7 feet instead of required 14 feet. To leave patio on side property line, not having a required setback of 4 feet, and 4-foot fence and driveway site distance triangle exceeding permitted height of 3 feet. Residence A District, north side of Longshore Road, 100 feet west of Riley Street, Bay Shore.
Matthew Bush, architect on behalf of the homeowners, 2615 Union Boulevard, Islip. We're here tonight for a proposed roof over porch. The existing structure is largely non-conforming. It's at a 30-foot front yard where 40 foot is required, and the existing side yard is 4.8 feet. We're proposing to step the porch in another 3 feet to align with windows on the house. The depth is proposed at 6 feet, which would be conforming if it were at a normal front yard, but being that it's non-conforming, we're pushed into a variance for that as well.
I didn't catch the rationale for the front porch of 7.7 instead of 14.
So we're setting the porch width at a spot where it aligns with the existing windows on the house. We're setting it back that 3 feet from the edge. That comes to an existing window on the house, which made the most sense to justify the width of the porch. Not that that's necessarily a zoning item, but it made the most sense from the use perspective of the house.
Is that Riley Street? Where's your Riley Street? Nobody even looks at
I mean, the existing house is at 4.8. There's nothing on the block that is set at a similar, location. This is the only house that's at 30 feet. All the other properties on that side seem to be set back at 40 feet. No, it's a very unique lot in the sense that it's largely non-conforming. It's very small. It's undersized, and the existing house is only at 4.8. So we're trying to increase beyond that, but still give them a usable porch.
They have a difficult, deep, narrow lot here. As he said, the existing house is at around 4.8, 4.9 feet, so they have actually cut it in. If it were an addition, I probably wouldn't be for it. Porches are generally something we're in support of. It's not a very large porch, but yeah, the setbacks aren't good because the existing setbacks of the house aren't very good. Don't know if there's much more to say about it than that.
So the 7.7 doesn't offend you or
The 7.7 does not particularly offend me, no, not for a porch.
Do we want to discuss the site triangle as well? It's an existing chain link fence. It's rusty and probably going to get removed anyway, but if we can get it approved, I think that would. Okay. Well, it's existing. It was just kind of, it was tacked on here. Yep. It is very rusty. I would propose something that would be compliant to the client.
We have a code amendment for specific types of fences with a certain amount of visibility, such as chain link or post and rail, that they no longer count as site obstructions. Fairly recently, so denials are still going to be coming in that say it until further notice, but yes, it was approved in December.
So we're, all right. So Sounds like we're good there.
Does anyone else want to be heard in this matter?
Is it going to affect the neighbors?
Someone wants to come forward and speak, they can.
That fence.
Why don't you wait till you're at the podium? Put your name and address on the record so the stenographer can get it all down.
Steve O'Shea at 1110 Riley Street, the corner house, which is alongside the property that we're discussing. That chain link fence is cemented in, so I don't know how they're going to replace it without like a major deal. That structure also had a dormer put on it, and yes. Yeah, there wasn't the proper setbacks, and that dormer overlooks my yard. It looked like, you know, right, it's like I walk out of my back of my house, and that dormer's like looking right into my yard. That was long before I was there, so. 90. Yeah. The garage is not the proper setbacks either. The garage in the back is not the proper setback from the property line either. Okay, well. Oh, I just want to have a little say in the matter. Well, I guess it is what it is then. This is the things I have to deal with. Appreciate it. All right. You're welcome.
Anyone else would like to be heard in this matter? Can we get a second? All in favor? Aye. Application's granted.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Application number 728-25, adjourned from December 9, 2025. Sandra Roberts, permission to erect second-story addition leaving rear yard of 19.5 feet instead of required 25 feet, and one-story addition, all having floor area ratio of 30% instead of permitted 25%. Residence B District, northeast corner of Seafield Lane and Cooper Lane, Bay Shore.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. My name's Kelly Bennett. Address is 1257 Udall Road, Bay Shore, New York, 11706. I here tonight on behalf of the homeowners as well as architect's office. We are seeking a relief for FAR. We are requesting 30%. We're allowed 25, and this is in connection with the proposed second-story and one-story addition, gaining us approximately 680 plus square feet of living space.
Sorry, I was doing something else. Oh, okay, yeah, as far as this one's concerned, this is a pretty common thing with corner lots. They end up having a rear yard issue. It's the neighbor's side yard. For all functional purposes, this is an impacted side yard, not a rear yard. There's nothing wrong with this application, considering the circumstances of being a corner lot and the issues that come with that.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Application number 65-26, Alice Carpenetto Irrevocable Trust, Joseph Lewis Carpenetto, trustee. Permission to erect second-story deck with stairs, leaving rear yard of 16.8 feet instead of required 25 feet. To leave shed 10.3 by 14.3, having 12 feet behind the front line of the dwelling instead of required 20 feet. And to renew permit for accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-616. Residence AA District, southeast corner of 8th Street and Furizon Avenue, Bohemia.
Good evening. Richard Bronchick, B-R-O-N-C-H-I-C-K, for JL Drafting, 707 Route 110, Farmingdale, New York, 11735. Mr. Chairman, one thing, we would like to amend the application by removing our request for a variance for the shed. The shed's been removed. Yes, it's been removed, so. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand that. First thing is, we already have a deck that's multi-level deck that's been approved by the board from ZBA decision 252-07 dated April 17, 2007. It has currently has a 22-foot rear yard setback now. Also, please keep in mind that this is a corner property, so it's considered by code a rear yard when normally it would be considered a side yard. Yes. So we're asking for an additional 5 feet. We're asking for 16.8 feet. Well, again, number one, like I said, this would normally be a rear yard, I'm sorry, a side yard, which only has an 18-foot setback instead of 25 feet.
I understand that. My question is, what is the issue regarding the neighbor?
Well, the neighbors, they've been consulted. They don't mind the deck being built. I have a letter from the neighbor in support of this application. Also, that area of the side yard is enclosed by trees, so it's very difficult to see from one neighbor's yard into the other. If I could submit some photos and a letter from the neighbor?
Could you clarify what's changing from what's currently existing?
Excuse me?
Could you clarify what's actually changing? Because as you had mentioned, there was an approval for a multi-level deck with, actually that was granted at 15 feet, so what's 22 feet currently?
Because what that decision did was they looked at, for some reason, they didn't look at the second story. They must have only looked at the lower level.
The lower level was more than 4 feet high though, right? So it didn't
No,
matter.
it wasn't. It was only a couple of feet high, and at least that's what's there now. It's less than 2 feet high.
So what's actually changing?
Excuse me?
What is changing then?
Well,
You're making the whole thing?
Well, they're renovating the deck, so they're replacing what's there with a new deck, and they're extending it towards the first level. They're extending it to the rear about 8 feet.
Is it getting closer to a neighbor?
Only the second level is getting closer to a neighbor. Yes.
So why do we want that? Why would we want it to impose more on the neighbor?
Well,
If they want a bigger deck, that gives them a urge to look at the neighbor's yard.
well, like I said, it's hard to see because they have trees around.
They cut the trees, we can't compel them.
Okay, well, the only other reason I can give you, sir, is that the homeowner has is confined to a wheelchair, and the staircase that leads up, she needs room to maneuver around it.
Well, she's got 16 feet, she needs 22 feet, and even if she was, they can tell tomorrow, and whatever, if that house is taking into the neighbors. You can't individualize it and grant everybody, everything.
There's actually one other thing I'm confused about that I'm just now realizing. The decision from 2007 calls this out as a side yard.
Exactly, yes, that was a mistake.
Which one was the mistake?
Not
No,
necessarily.
that decision,
No, not necessarily. For nearly 40 years, I've been watching the town not be sure what to call corner lots, whether they should be front yards or second front yards.
well, based on the
So
code
it's-
today.
I would never call it a mistake.
Okay,
So,
Fair enough.
but yes, the zoning board did grant a multi-level deck in the back of this house, referring to it as a side yard of 15 instead of 18. So now we're calling it 16, and we're telling you need 25, but it's essentially the same multi-level deck.
right, so we'll take the 15 if you,
But you can't call it something other because it makes your application better. That's not the way it works. If your application in 2007 was good for a side yard, we'll call it a side yard.
No, it's the same yard.
It's the same yard.
It's the same,
It's the same deck.
Here's the deck.
But it's getting closer to the neighbor.
No, it's actually
not the first level, no.
Well, okay, well.
The second level's the one that bothers us.
Yeah.
Right, the second level is the only one at issue minus, because the first,
The second level is also the one that is most burdensome to the neighbors. It's
We
the one
approved that.
We started this conversation by saying we're very wary of the
No.
second level fence. I'm just pointing that out.
I understand that completely. I would like to point out that both houses are both two-story houses with windows that overlook each other's yards also.
Yeah, but it makes it more burdensome on the neighbor.
Would the board consider something in between?
They did build it.
Well, right now, it extends just under 9 feet, 8.8 feet, towards that rear yard, however you want to label it. Would you consider 12 feet? No, I understand, sir. Well, it's really, it's a question of whether or not the board will, make any, is willing to be flexible at all. What is the point of flex, so my question is, what is your point of flexibility?
That's what we're trying to determine.
Okay. Sure. Fair enough. Yes. Yeah. I apologize for that. Of the proposed deck? The proposed deck is 10 by 14, yes. What's there now extends 8.8 feet towards the neighbor. I'm not positive the width. I think it's 6 feet, but I'm not positive. Yeah, it's, as you can see, there are several levels to the deck that currently exist. We're proposing just 2 levels.
So currently, at least if I'm trying to read the survey correctly here, the second level, it's a 6.1, then it goes down a little bit for another 6.3 feet for 12.4 feet of what is effectively a second-story deck. Multi-level, but both parts are more than 4 feet. What you're proposing is to even that out for one larger level, that's 14, so it's jutting out an extra 1.6 feet or so? Is that correct?
Basically, yes.
Okay. So the second-story deck is going 1.6 feet further or closer to the neighbor than is currently existing. And is further than what was previously granted by the board, as far as I can tell.
And the deck and was the deck distance amended at all, or is that as proposed?
No, the amendment was the removal of your shed.
Thank you very much. Have a very good evening.
Application number 66-26, Jason and Marie DeSenigno. Permission to install in-ground pool leaving side yard of 10 feet and rear yard of 10 feet instead of required 14 feet each. Residence A District, west side of Chestnut Avenue, 1,025.47 feet north of Peconic Street, Ronkonkoma.
Good evening, Diana Lespiso with Morano Expediting Services, P.O. Box 39, Bethpage, New York, 11714, here on behalf of the property owners. And we're here before you tonight requesting permission to install an in-ground pool with a reduced side and rear yard setback of 10 feet instead of the required 14 feet. The intent of the requested relief is to allow the pool area to be independently fenced off from the remainder of the yard for safety purposes. There is currently a large playground located adjacent to the shed along the rear lot line. The homeowners have 2 young daughters who actively use the playground and frequently enjoy playing in the yard when weather permits. Placing the pool in the proposed location will allow the playground to remain undisturbed while still maintaining a reasonable amount of green space for general recreational use. The applicants did consider relocating the playground, however, due to the location of the existing shed and the direction of which the doors open, relocation is not a practical option. So I did speak with them about that. The more pressing side yard would be the side yard because they're trying to keep it as far off the playground and create a decent space. So that they would want to remain the 10 feet. Pushing it to the 14 feet off of the rear would just create a little bit of a challenge because then it would bring it closer to the house and just, you know, they weren't having, very rarely, we're actually here a lot of times for a lot of patio and over occupancy of the rear yard. So I was actually excited finally somebody's not looking to do that. So so I think they could do 12 feet off of the rear, and that would be more, I mean, that would be a 14.3 relaxation. It wouldn't be completely unreasonable if they revised it to 12 feet off the rear and kept the 10 feet off the side.
I don't really see the justification for it. If they're concerned about the pool being closer to the house, they could also just make the pool shorter. It could be a 20 by 30 pool, and then they have a conforming yard without making it any closer to the house.
No, I understand. I mean, it's a 16 by 34, 16 by 32, so it is a
20 by
standard
34.
size. Well, because the 20 feet counts the 20 feet counts the pool steps, because
Sure.
those, but it's not swimming area, so that's why, but the building department does have to count the overall size.
I'm just saying that's an option if they're concerned about making it too close to the house. They could also just push it closer to the house.
Well, I think if that was going to be the result of the outcome of the hearing, that's what they would end up doing. I know I've been before the board on occasion, not in this specific area. A lot of the pools in this area are primarily directly behind the house, and that's honestly because a lot of people want them behind the house. They want them visible from a communal area in the house. They're not everybody's looking to separately fence it off. But because they do have very small children, that is, a pressing concern for them. So that is their instance here. They would prefer to have the side yard at the 10 feet, yes, and whatever the board sees fit for the rear. No, the side yard is what they would prefer to maintain, the 10 feet. And then whatever the board is comfortable with for the rear, we will make do. Thank you. Thank you.
Application number 67-26, Kelsey Rashke. Permission to erect two-story addition, 15.7 by 23.5, irregular, leaving side yard of 9.5 feet instead of required 14 feet, total side yards of 23.8 feet instead of required 28 feet, and to leave patio on side property line not having required setback of 4 feet. Residence A District, north side of Sylvia Drive, 106.4 feet east of Dorothy Road, West Islip.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Low-Keenes from Lowdown Expediting. Our address is located at 131 Berkeley Place in Massapequa, New York. I am here this evening on behalf of my client, Kelsey Rashke, who is the owner and occupant of the subject property located at 45 Sylvia Drive in West Islip, New York. We are here this evening as a result of an application that was filed with the Town of Islip Building Department for a proposed first and second story addition with minor interior alterations. As a result, we are here requesting a variance for permission to erect the two-story side addition having a side yard setback of 9.5 feet instead of the required 14 feet, for which we are requesting 4.5 feet of relief.
Can you tell us what the nature character neighborhood regarding that request of 9.5 foot 14?
So when we did our research, we saw that there were a few houses down the block on Sylvia Drive at 7, 11, and 15 Sylvia that had similar side yard setbacks, and then there was the house directly in the rear of the property that also received a similar side yard setback, I believe. I know that the house directly behind was granted, yes, for a 10.5-foot setback. So
Yes, it was. Yes, the one behind was granted at 10.6. There is one other around 10.5 as well. In both cases, I don't really know exactly why they were granted. I wouldn't have supported it at the time, if I'm being honest, but to be clear, they are. Those are both for two-story additions, same as being asked for here.
But it's an otherwise compliant neighborhood. I just want to make sure it's not a nature character neighborhood. It's two. That's a good start.
I would tend to agree with you on that I don't think it's necessarily the nature and character of the neighborhood as best as I can tell. Now, they're doing an addition on the side. It's currently a conforming side yard. They're doing, I believe, a garage conversion, and they want to bump it out a bit more for more living space.
Should we do a little more investigation to see what the making character neighborhood is? If it's as you say, there's nothing, but it doesn't sound like.
I don't know how much research we
Who
did.
has subject line? 40 homes is not.
This one with the really hard to see black circle. And this one right above it here is the one being referenced as having been given a grant. You can kind of see was also a garage conversion effectively. So a similar proposal here. Yes, 2004. Yeah, that one was 04. The other one was 2020.
Yes. Would you guys be more comfortable with 10.5 feet? That is something I discussed with the architect earlier today. I did ask, yes, well, I spoke with the architect earlier to ask why, because they do have a large rear yard. But as I stated, they are converting the garage, which was more cost efficient and more feasible than redoing the entire house. If we were to bump out the backyard, the 3 existing bedrooms are all along the rear of the house, so they would have to essentially rework the entire home. Yes, so currently, right now, the garage is what they would be converting, so it's at 11 feet, which is good for a garage, but it's not great for a typical living room and for a primary bedroom, which is what would be going on the second floor, and the living room would be on the first floor. Oh, I meant the width of the room was 11 feet. I apologize. Yes, both side yards are at about 14 feet. So if there were to do anything on either side yard, there would be a variance. The width of the garage, the room, is 11 feet. The side yard right now is 14 on that side and 14.3 on the opposite side. So it would have a 9.5 foot setback, and then the width of the rooms would be 15 feet. If we were to reduce. Okay, so yes, if we were to reduce it, it would have a setback of 10.5 feet if we reduced it to. Yes. I apologize, I misunderstood.
I don't think I have any further comments now.
Okay, and do you need us to resubmit plans? Yeah, I can resubmit plans. I'm not the architect, but I can hope that he has something by early next week. Okay. Do you know when you guys meet next? Okay. No, I'll be able to have it by next week. I know that the client is a personal friend of the architect, so I'm sure they'll move quickly. You got it.
Application number 68-26, Lenin and Sandra Zapan, to leave detached garage, that should say permission to leave detached garage, having rear yard of 2.5 feet instead of required 4 feet, driveway and patios having side yards of 2 feet and rear yard of 0.8 feet instead of required 4 feet each, and rear yard landscaping of 11.8% instead of required 40%. Residence B District, west side of Chapman Place, 116.37 feet north of Union Boulevard, Bay Shore.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lenny Chapan. I bring my daughter, Melissa, because my English is not 100%. But I can please explain about this matter. I make a mistake because I have 2 drones, and I give it to the contractor, the first drone, because I have the CEO for the, because my garage was on fire. So I want to do it in the same place. But so that take too much time to get the permits, maybe 3 or 4 months. So the architect did another drone. So this is the new one. That was in December 24. Yes.
After the fire.
After the fire. So I want to just follow the codes. So I was working with the architect. So he told me, say, take 3 or 4 months to get it, because I got to do the variance before where was the garage. So I can't wait. So he gave me the new drones with the 4 feet. No. It's one side is 4 feet, and the back is 2.5. So that's it's this one. So you can check. Yes. Yeah, because I give it the yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's an existing structure.
Made it a little better on the side yard, but it's exactly the same as it was in the rear yard.
Yeah, because I make a mistake. I give it the incorrect drawings to the contractor. Because I have in my phone, so I send from the phone, I give it that one, but this is the new one.
I think in light of the fact that it's effectively an improvement from what was there previously, that I have no reason to be against what the garage is requesting. It's not that substantial. The rear yard landscaping is the only thing that I think is noteworthy here. It's a very large amount of pavement in the rear yard.
Okay. 30%. So how much is just in the backyard or?
Yeah, just in the rear yard. Remove some pavement, put down some grass. Yeah, it's like concrete.
Okay.
Is there a specific area that it has to be in? No? Okay.
In the rear. But it must be the rear yard, so between the furthest point back on the house and the rear property line, that's all that counts as rear yard. It can't be a side.
Dile que al lado tenemos en
It
día.
wouldn't matter if you did it in the side yard.
Okay.
I would say ideally you want to do the areas closest to your neighbors. It's a logical place to do it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Espera, espera.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Application number 69-26, J.C. Newcastle Corporation. Permission to establish accessory apartment pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-602, allowing doorway access from within main dwelling and having gross floor area of 912.12 square feet instead of permitted 800 square feet, and to leave driveway on side property line not having a required setback of 4 feet. Residence A District, east side of Gardner Drive, 100 feet south of Huron Drive, Bay Shore.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name, please?
My name is Julio Ivan Castillo Villa. I live at 1339 Gardner Drive, Bayshore.
Okay, that's the stress, okay? And you're here for the accessory apartment, and then it's the oversized accessory apartment, all right?
Yes.
Planning any comments on this?
As far as the first request here, it's, to my understanding, and after speaking with people at the building department, I don't believe they have any issue with allowing doorway access from within the main dwelling. They have a shared entrance into the foyer, at which point, from what I can tell from the floor plan, it separates. The apartment is upstairs, so you take the staircase up, and then the rest of the house is behind a door. So they don't have access between the two. I confirmed this with the building department earlier today.
Okay. So the issue is then the size of the apartment?
Mostly, yes.
So the apartment's too big?
Well, yeah, it is, but it is the way it was. I didn't add anything else. I bought this way on 2024. I bought it the way it is. I didn't change anything on the house, and then the driveway is exactly the same it was when I bought it.
The driveway's not an issue?
To speak a bit to the size of the structure, or size of the apartment, I'm sorry, it is including the staircase itself. The board has in the past decided to discount that area that is just the stairs. It's not really an area where people are living necessarily.
So how big is the stairs?
I don't know precisely. I don't think, it gets them under 900, I know that much. I don't know an exact number of where it gets them to.
Use this. Does that say 3 foot 4 inches, so 3.3?
4 inches, that can't be. You can do with the
6 foot, I guess it is. Oh, I sure am.
Morning. My name is Joseph Antonaccio, 1343 Gardner Drive, Bayshore, New York. Next door neighbor, behind neighbors, just the new people in the neighborhood. We just don't know, what's going on. We think that it's a little more going on that use it as a residential neighborhood. It's not. They use it pretty much as, it's bigger than that. A lot of traffic. Right? Yeah, they live there. Yeah, that's right.
Hi, my name's Alan Tingay. I live at 1751 Asher Oaken Boulevard, right behind their house. My concern is there's a lot of vehicles. I mean, right now, the backyard sometimes is being used as a parking lot. There's a lot of cars and stuff in the backyard where I think the neighbors on that block are complaining because there's too many cars on the street, and then they're parking in the back. So that's my only concern about making that an apartment. a legal apartment, because then there's just gonna be more traffic and stuff in the neighborhood. So, that's,
Sir, is this a picture from your yard into the neighbor's yard?
yeah, I don't know where that picture came from, but, yeah, but that's, yeah, that.
Clear, that's not your yard, right? Because you're not adjacent, you're across the street?
I'm across the street, he's right
Okay.
in front there, this is his yard.
Okay, thank
This
you.
was a picture, you had code enforcement take this picture from your rear yard, is that correct? or-
No,
not
that's,
from the other
that's Asheroken, so there's a street in between. So when
Ah, okay.
when I look out my window, that's what I see, but there's a street.
Also, that's not his backyard to your front backyard, right? There's a street showing?
Yeah, there's a street
Looks
in
like
between.
backyard.
That's
The
correct.
photo isn't very.
Yeah, so basically, that was taken from that was taken from the sidewalk, because,
That's his backyard?
yeah, that's his backyard, right? That's what I see when I look out my window.
Okay, and I see 3 cars, it looks like they're parked on the grass.
Yes, sometimes there's less, sometimes there's more.
Okay, let's say on this particular day there are 3. What do you see more, what do you see less? What is the average if you could?
It's hard to say. I don't try to keep track. I stay to myself. I don't really try to bother anybody. I know everybody's, busy, and I know everybody's trying to make a living, so.
No, but that doesn't mean they can park cars in the backyard.
Right.
We have to look at that.
Well, yes, that's my concern.
Let's find out from the applicant.
Wow, certainly code enforcement is open to file.
Hi, my name is Ted Singh at 1750 Asheroken. That's my house right there where they take out a picture. From my front yard, so to speak, yeah, from my front yard. Yeah, my concern is about the cars and the people. I don't know, they asking for they're trying to get like a permit for the upstairs apartment. I don't know how many people live there, to be honest with you. I don't like really, but I think there's more than a lot of people living in the house and they're asking for additional apartment. I don't know what they're trying to do. So I have 2 kids and I don't want to see, there's people, they having parties, people urinating in the backyard and stuff like that. No. I have 2 girl kids and I don't want them to see that, so. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, no problem, thank you.
Well, I have family. I have a family that lives in Queens, Brooklyn, also, and they come to visit me on the weekends. And summertime we make sometimes like a barbecue, and then instead of having them parking on the street. Well, there was 2 cars parked there because I have a business and I bought a car, so there was not insurance on the car yet, so that's why it was parked on the backyard. Well, that's what I can tell you. For the accessory apartment? No, Vanessa knows.
Oh, I'm sorry, I let me amend my motion to approve the application for the driveway, and I make a motion to deny the application.
Well, it's a big house, and I live just my wife and I, and then. And like I told you, I have business. All right, thank you.
Or you're gonna-
Go. All right, everybody, thank you for the break. Application number 70-26, 61 Keeland Court Associates LLC. Permission to erect 6 vertical vacuum tanks having height of 54 feet instead of permitted 18 feet. Industrial 1 District, north side of Keeland Court, 586.35 feet west of Johnson Avenue, Bohemia.
Good evening to the board. My name is Joseph Clemens of German Clemens Architecture, located at 3275 Veterans Memorial Highway, Suite B11, Ronkonkoma, New York, 11779. I am here this evening to discuss the GE Aerospace Engineering product. I am accompanied by Rafael Barinas and George Papadopoulos to answer any questions which you guys may have. We presented a similar application to you back on May 23rd, 23, which was approved. That was demonstrating a vacuum sphere, so a very similar item. This is just a different type of arrangement, so rather than a large circle, it's 6 individual vacuum vessels, basically serving the same purpose, same height, almost the exact same setbacks as originally proposed. That's basically the extent of the application at this point. Yes, sir. No more Death Star. I mean, I don't know if there was an exact reason. Raphael can explain.
Good evening. So I'm Raphael, and I was here last time as well. Oh, sorry. Raphael Varinas, 28 Greenbrier Avenue in Farmingville, New York, 11716. We did. We did indeed. When we went to get updated quotes and things like that, I guess, after COVID, the cost of materials, the cost of the sphere actually went up more than 3 times what it was originally. That became a little bit of an issue. Yep. They're vacuum tanks. Yeah, just vacuum. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. So height-wise, it'll work out to be roughly the same height. We expect this to be a little bit lower. The tanks are 36 feet long. They're going to be in a vertical configuration, but we have to lift them off the ground a little bit just to give us some room to do the stuff that goes under them. But yep. Yeah. No. So no. So what we're getting really, I mean, in terms of volume, we're getting only about 40% of the volume that the sphere gave us. So it's less volume, but it's about 25% of the cost. We're still getting about 40% of the volume that we had before. So it was a 48-foot diameter sphere. No, the sphere. The sphere was 48 feet in diameter. These are 12 feet in diameter each. They're smaller. In width, but there's only 2 rows. So it's only 24 feet wide on one dimension. Yes, yeah. Yes. Hopefully not. Yeah. To cement.
I'm sorry,
I'm not sure.
Yeah. George Papadopoulos, my name.
And your address?
20 J. Moore Court, Wisconsin, New York. I'm sorry, I didn't get the question.
Oh, no. No. So they will look like 6 white cylinders. So on the outside, very similar to what we showed you guys with the sphere before. It'll just be, metal tanks that are painted white. We can paint them whatever color, really, but that's the plan right now. It's just that. So they won't look like cement tanks or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly the same use.
I wasn't here for the first hearing on this, so I don't really have a lot of background context as compared to everybody else, so I don't really have much to say about it.
Anyone else would like to be heard in this matter?
So I know we submitted it at 54 just because it was, we put it as the same height as the sphere. We don't have, obviously, the build drawings yet for the tanks. What we have is the preliminary ones, but we expect it to be lower than 54 feet. I would say probably 48 feet or something along those lines. So it'll be a little bit shorter. Yes, roughly. Yeah, I believe that we have the plans here.
It's not exactly what you just said, but yeah, I would have a rendering, yes. Oh, I have the renderings too.
You have them, I
I
think?
mean, this is this guy, but that may not be completely accurate. James is estimated based on 3,000.
Yeah. It will be an estimate.
We have this.
Grab this one. And you have the renderings? Or? Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a cartoon of them, but. Yeah.
While we're getting that all together, so as I said, I'm pretty new to this. Could you speak to any concerns beyond just the size of the structure and the height? Do they generate any noise? Is there any other factors to be considered? Is there any concerns with regards to whether or not this could potentially be a safety issue?
So actually, those are all definitely things that we talked about before.
Yeah.
And all that is, yeah, if you can. And all it is, so they're vacuum tanks, so,
Sure.
they're going to be pulled into vacuum. They're basically going to have negative pressure inside them. The idea is that we use them for some of our testing that we do there, right? So we're an aerospace company. We develop propulsion systems. And what it does for us is it helps us run our tests at simulated altitudes in atmosphere. So, if you could imagine, if you're flying really, really high in the atmosphere, pressure's a lot lower. That's kind of what we're simulating for whatever system we happen to be testing at the time. And the noise, yeah, because they're vacuum, not a lot, there's no air inside, so they can't really propagate the sound. They'll actually help us reduce.
Do they maintain that air pressure at all times, or does it get removed out?
No, so we pull them into vacuum, we run the test. As the test runs, what it does is it comes back to ambient temperature, pressure. So the same atmospheric pressure. It won't. No, propulsion systems, sensors. There's all kinds of things, I guess, that go into that, but that's most of what we do. I'm more on the facility side.
Yeah, I'll
Anything-
take
yeah.
that question. Yeah, basically, the company is a research and development company. We're part of GE Aerospace. So think of propulsion system like a gas turbine, but it's not a gas turbine. It's kind of similar type of engine development. Typical altitudes will be higher than the aircraft. We'll typically about 50,000 to about 60,000 feet altitude, maybe a little bit further. So what happens is that you pull the vacuum to get the conditions of interest. So this way you can actually simulate the environment, and then the propulsion system is tied into the system. As the vacuum tanks basically fill up, at some point the test is over. They only last for tens of seconds to maybe 30 seconds or so per test, and then we will empty the tanks for the next test. So that takes quite a bit of time. And the tanks will help with noise abatement for sure. They will be a lot more quieter, and it will allow us to basically do our job a lot more efficiently than we're doing right now.
But as far as removing the air to set it up for the test, you're saying that doesn't generate noise, or?
No, it doesn't, because they're vacuum tanks, so they take a long time. It will be hours to basically remove that air from those tanks. No. The rush of air will go right into the tanks, and it will be basically accumulated, and at some point the pressure will equalize to the ambient pressure on the side, and the test will be over. And then you will take several hours during the day to essentially remove that air again and get it back to condition. It will depend on how long we basically run the test and, you know, how much we fill. If we fill all the tanks, it will take basically the better of part of the day. So maybe we'll do 2 runs per day, one in the morning and maybe one in the afternoon. They will recycle it, they will be ready for the next day, so.
Just keep happening.
Not really, not every day. I mean, typically a test campaign, there's a lot of preparatory type of things that you do, and you may run a week or 2 weeks, and then you'll be gone for maybe several weeks to a month before you go and change over.
This is Industrial 1 district, that's what you're going. It's surrounded entirely by other Industrial 1 properties.
And the footprint, again, one of, you know, the vacuum sphere is definitely the better choice as before, but because of cost and other things, we basically had to shrink to these tanks because they're more affordable and they take, actually, it was $5.5 million back then. So it's actually.
The first time we got the quote way back before we did the
Uh,
first hearing,
it was
it
a
was
few
like
million.
2.2.
Yeah.
And then when we went and got updated
Okay.
quotes, it was like a little bit more than 5.5.
Right. Yeah, so we're back to a couple of $1 million for these tanks, so. A couple of $1 million, basically, yeah. Yeah.
About the cost of the original sphere.
Has there ever been one that failed? Are these in use elsewhere?
Yes, yes.
Has there been an instance of one failing and exploding?
No, they wouldn't be overpressurized. Remember, they would just basically go to ambient.
Well, no, no. Yeah.
No, but, well, they are built, they are built to, you know, SME standards and all those things, yeah, of course. They're built to code, and they will basically have a certain safety factor.
Yeah. There'll be ASME stamp and all that.
We got drawings here with the vacuum tank details. It doesn't give us exactly the breakdown from ground floor to 54 feet high or whatever it is. Can you guys provide us updated drawings of that?
Okay.
Exactly the breakdown, how high it is off the ground, et cetera?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. 10 to 12 feet is what we're planning to lift it off the ground. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, the tanks are 36 feet long, so 10 to 12 feet will put us around 48. Yeah, there were estimates, again, we have different preliminary drawings from different vendors, yeah. We haven't locked in any vendors or anything like that because we need the approval, obviously, first. Yeah. Yes. We have them ready now, I mean, Constantine.
yeah, I mean, we're ready to go as soon as we get approval. Yeah. Well, we have several suppliers. Now, all the suppliers more or less make similar tanks, similar size, maybe a few inches here, a few inches there. So we know about the configuration. In order for us to give you detailed drawings, we'll have to make a selection and go down the process to be able to elevate, because there's also additional structure that goes underneath the tanks to essentially tie all the tanks. It's a bit of a catch-22 in the sense that, again, for us to basically make a selection, we'll have to tie into a vendor, so we'll have to commit. So we have specs, like I said, and so, okay. All right, we'll get you the detailed drawings for committing to a particular height.
Is there a possibility of approval?
Sure. Okay.
No, I was just going to ask if there was a possibility of an approval of a not-to-exceed height, if that was the case. Okay.
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 And
is it something we need to appear before the board again, or, okay, so just a decision you'll make? Okay. Yep, okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, this next one hopefully won't be too bad. Application number 71-26, 33 East Associates LLC. Permission to modify existing accessory structure having rear yard of 2.5 feet and side yard of 22 feet instead of required 25 feet each, and side yard of 2 feet instead of required 10 feet. To erect roofed-over patio, leaving front yard of 22.5 feet and side yard of 4.5 feet, and one-story addition, 7.8 by 18.1, altering main structure, having side yard of 1.8 feet and front yard of 29.4 feet instead of required 50 feet each. Business 1 District, north side of East Main Street, 100 feet west of Division Avenue, East Islip.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ding Hao Zhou. Address is 8269 165th Street, Jamaica, New York, 11432. I'm the architect representing the property owners here today. We are proposing to add an addition basically in the middle where currently the courtyard is, to make, if you can see from the side map, it's that little vacuum in the middle. We're proposing an addition in that area. And we are also proposing to, we understand that the garage, the second floor addition of the garage is not CO'd, so we're going to take that out. We're going to basically conform to the existing CO in terms of the garage, bring it back to conform to CO. And we're also proposing a front covered porch, which is going to be projecting 9 feet toward the front from the front of the house.
So we have a very confusing call of the meeting. I'm going to try my best to explain what's going on here, because it took me quite a bit to figure it out myself. Go down the line. Start with the accessory structure in question. It's that rear garage. This was a CO'd structure that they, at one point, previous owner, had illegally put a second-story addition on top of. This came to the board. It was denied. What they are effectively proposing now is to remove that second-story addition on what was the previously CO'd garage to get it close to what was the original CO'd structure. Obviously, you can never do that identically, but effectively they're trying to come back into conformance with what they originally had legal.
So that's good.
I would say yes.
Okay, and the structure's not moving, so the side yard's already...
Correct. Yeah. It's being reconstructed in such a way where it needs to be addressed, but effectively they're trying to return it to what was previously legal and CO'd.
Why are they looking to now correct the right or the wrongs of the past?
I couldn't speak to their intentions, but I believe there's a new tenant trying to come in and do some other work. So presumably this was an outstanding issue they need to get legalized in the process.
Oh, that's what it is.
I would
Yeah.
assume so.
So, yeah, the property owner just acquired this property, I think it's 2024. This was like this when they get the property, and they're,
Did that crop up when they purchased the property? I'm just curious, when they have CO search and they say, ah,
yeah, so they're going to take care of that when they are going to renovate the main building.
what it as it is?
Yes, their intention was that to bring everything to conform to CO. So that's exactly what they are doing right now.
Everything. We were just talking about this existing two-story garage.
Mhm.
What else is it that they want to
They are proposing a small addition in the middle,
Right.
but considering the existing structure is a non-conforming.
It's a 100-square-foot addition. So yeah. It's in what's currently sort of a carved-out section in the middle here. If you're looking at the plan, it says proposed one-story addition, gross value 100 square feet. This is, the rest of this, I think the way that this is written is terribly confusing. It's calling out an addition altering main structure having side yard of 1.8. It's important to clarify here, the addition is at the center of it. That section is not at 1.8 feet. 1.8 feet is the existing structure. As part of this addition, they will also be doing a roof line alteration, which makes sense. They're kind of putting something in the middle there. So really, it's the roof line alteration that has a side yard of 1.8 in this instance, because that's the existing setback of the building. The actual addition itself being in the center is not the section that is at this very non-conforming side yard. It's the existing building, it's an alteration for the roof line. It's not very substantial alteration either from what I can tell.
So there's no reason that we should deny this application. It looks like they're trying to bring it into compliance and grab a little on the middle.
The only part of this that's really new that you could maybe do a consideration for is the proposed, well, the addition is, but that's, you know, but they also have the front roofed over porch here. It's about the same setback as the existing structure. Again, porches are not something I'm usually terribly offended by. Also noteworthy, most of these numbers here are significantly worse than they would be really in reality. We have something called a side yard transition for when it's next to residential area. This property is next to a sort of a, I guess like a townhome thing, residency area. So they end up with setbacks of things like 25 feet, 50 feet for the front yard. Typically, a business district would only need 10 feet for all of these, but since they're adjacent to this residency area, these numbers are heavily inflated. Actually, there is one other thing to clarify here. As far as the rear yard goes, they only need 15 feet, not 25, but
Does anyone else like to be heard in this application? Any other questions? No questions.
Based on that excellent presentation, I'm going to give motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Application's granted.
Thank you.
Application number 573-25 adjourned from September 30th, 2025. Garfield Sayville LLC. A special exception is requested to extend business use into a more restricted zoning district pursuant to Islip Town Code Section 68-415B. BD District and Residence B District, northwest corner of West Main Street and Garfield Avenue, Sayville.
Good evening, Dan Mazzella for Garfield Sayville, 666 Montauk Highway, Bayport, New York, 11705. Yeah, so we originally were, oh, sure. Is this better? Oh, beautiful. Oh, I can hear myself. Oh, dear. Okay, so we were originally supposed to go on September 30th, as noted. However, prior to going on, we received word that planning wanted to discuss the plan further, and so after consultations with planning, we have adjusted the plan, and I believe our architect submitted the revised plan to the board. In said plan, we have adjusted on the west side of the property to actually grant an easement for access to the neighboring parcel to preserve the existing curb cut over there, so as to actually maintain the orderly use of the neighboring property. Beyond that, what we're calling for is just extend the parking area into the Residence B area, which was also the subject of a prior grant from the board, application 70-13 in 2013. We're asking for no more relief than was in that decision. It's pretty late, so I'll seize my time if you have any questions. Right, we requested an adjournment at that time. Yes. I don't have that section in front of me, but yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, here it comes. Okay. I don't believe so. The original plan may have, but since we actually granted the, we've offered the easement to the neighboring property owner, so they maintain their means of ingress and egress. So it should not affect their operations unduly. I've submitted to them. I actually spoke to him today. He's not adverse to it. He wants a couple of other things beyond that, which are pretty substantial. But he is open to, the easement as we've offered it. No. Actually, I submitted a copy of it to Ms. Pissarro. So I believe the board. Right. Yeah. So I'm not certain if you have the revised site plan. I just have a copy over here. Yeah, that shaded area shows. It was actually at the suggestion of planning engineering, but they actually wanted it of this dimension, tapered, and we rejiggered our plan to actually comply with that. Yes, I gave him a copy of this, yes. I only heard from him literally today. He finally got back to me. He's open to it. He wanted some other matters. Specifically, he wants, let's see, a shared dumpster. He wants the easement to be larger so he can do something else. He wants a cross-access easement. He basically wants to use our property for his customers to come and go, which we're not terribly enthused with the idea because of the nature of his business. We don't particularly want, it's a tavern. A tavern. It's a bar. I'm not certain myself. Right, yeah, exactly. Well, no, we're giving them the easement. We're not asking for the easement.
Right, but you want him to, when I say he wants something from them, you want him to accept the easement to make this issue go away. So.
Well, I mean, the easement was, you know, when we discussed it with planning and engineering, the easement was actually the most expedient way to preserve the existing curb cut on Montauk Highway that would provide ingress and egress as it has been since, you know, time immemorial. I don't believe it would actually affect the use of the bar because we are providing in our plan ingress and egress. Thank you. Well, as to our proposed use, we're just building a general commercial and office building, which will not unduly change the character of the area or affect health and safety. We don't have any tenants at present. If you actually, if you look at the division of the building, roughly about 60% of the building is just general commercial tenants. That could be retail, personal service shops, whoever is allowed in a business district. The other 40% approximately is just, it's designated right now for office use. So that would be, you know, lawyers, CPAs, insurance agents, real estate, whatever might find itself there. Oh, yes, it is. I sure hope so. Yes. So the way the property is set, it has this wing that goes off to the west and the north. That is, I think that's just a single-family residence, if memory serves. And we've had they haven't contacted us at all. I think they were at the, back in September 30th, they were there. I spoke with them briefly in the hallway, but since then, nothing from them. But as to where we actually contact them, it's just in the rear of the property, that funny little trapezoidal triangle thing in the back over there. We have a 25-foot buffer anyway for the side yard transition, and he won't. I don't think he'll be able to see the building from his house because, well, there's some distance between. You know, we're not building anything in that area beyond some parking, you know, which is again beyond the 25-foot buffer.
A few comments just to sort of give the background a bit more. Yeah, as you said, this did come to the board. It was very quickly adjourned. due to the concerns with the neighboring property having proper ingress egress. As it was proposed, they would be sort of cutting off that because they have the shared apron, and we did not think that it would be in the interest of public safety to have a single ingress for a tavern bar, which Suffolk County DPW did agree with us. The options given were either to give an easement, as they have now done, or to give sort of access out through Garfield. Important to note, this would, in our opinion, effectively the minimum that would be required in order to keep proper ingress egress for the neighboring property to not cause an actual just safety issue. So that's where we're currently at now. I'm not a traffic safety expert, mind you, but to me it seemed rather obvious that that would cause an issue, which brings us to where we currently are. As far as the actual proposal goes, it is a difficult one. This did come to the board back in 2013. At the time when it was granted, there was a pretty substantially different plan. At the time, it was more of a shared site. I can actually bring that up, most likely. That did have cross access, which is probably why the neighboring property is requesting that, because that's what was offered to them in the past. Actually, I do have the plan here. So this is what it pretty much looked like when it was approved by the board in 2012, 2013 era. This would be the proposed building. This is the bar tavern. And they had sort of a full shared parking lot, full cross access.
And full access to Garfield.
Yes, yeah. So the board was very happy with that proposal at the time. I could see why. It's very beneficial proposal in terms of getting the site to be more functional. Certainly the neighboring property will have some issues in terms of access, although those are their issues.
And just, if you could just explain to the board, because the zoning line isn't shown on the plan before us, but the zoning line.
Sure. So, or at least I think I understand. So, another factor here, this is a special exception, but also sort of needs a variance from the special exception as well. Special exception allows for a depth extension of up to 50 feet. Since it's a trapezoid, at the furthest area, it's a little over 100 feet. So it would be, and this, it has been done before in very rare instances, but yes, they would also need a variance from the 50 feet requirement. Or if the board did not see fit to grant that, I think their only real alternative would be to try to get a change of zone.
Nick, if I can ask you, I think I understand. They are looking, at least I'm always sensitive when people want to encroach into residential areas.
Sure.
So they require 100.
At the widest area, I think it's 106 or 107, yes.
And they, so let me just want to, and they want to propose how much of a diminution of that? How much are they getting into that?
On their property, the theory is that they would have that business zoning extended all the way to their property line. So they're not split zoned anymore. That's what they're trying to address. They're currently split zoned, so they don't have the ability to make this office use.
But does that put them closer or lessen the buffer to the neighbors?
I'm not sure if that question is really pertinent here. Maybe I'm misunderstanding you. This is really changing a zoning line. The property boundaries are staying the same. What's currently their problem, as you can kind of see here, the red line here is the zoning line.
Okay.
So they are currently split zoned. When you're split zoned, the more restrictive zoning takes over. So effectively, they're currently zoned residential. They're trying to make it so that they change to be business zoning.
So if we were to grant this, just hypothetically, what effect would it have on the neighbors? I mean, I know we're moving the line or split zone, but what is the effect it would have on the neighbors?
You would be giving this parcel basically the right to have business uses, which it currently does not have as of right.
And why doesn't the town want, if it's split zone, why doesn't the town want it to have business uses? Is it because it's adjacent to residential?
That's difficult. I was not around when we were first making these
But you're
determinations.
understanding the code. Maybe Jordan knows. Is that the
It is
intent
my
of the
understanding
code?
that yes, when it's split zoned, normally, yes, it's close to a zoning line, so especially with a residential thing, they would be much more sensitive to having these business uses. Sometimes it might even be industrial uses too close to residential areas. Usually you want to have a transition.
Is that the goal of the code, is not to have transitional burden the residential?
it's typically good planning to have transitions from sort of business uses towards residential, and transitions can be, there's certain business uses that are more in harmony, I guess, to try to use that word that we had
What
here.
about a tavern? It's a quaint name for a bar, but a tavern, is that, I'm just trying to figure out what practical effect this is going to have on the residential neighborhood.
So special.
It's a little difficult to say because we're not sure what the tenants are going to be, but
So depth extensions exist in most zoning codes because of what's called strict commercial zoning. So when the town fathers decided to designate BD zoning along Montauk Highway, they decided to make it 150 feet deep. It's called strip commercial zoning. So depth extensions exist in most zoning codes to correct that within reason, which is why the zoning board's special exception authority is limited to a 50-foot depth extension. Here, the applicant is really asking to use the entirety of the trapezoidal piece, so what we're saying is they're really needing all 106 feet along the west property line.
But then what's the point of having that transitional code if we're just going to say,
Well, I think that's for the board to decide. Is this really what the traditional depth extension is supposed to do? You could say, one could argue it's effectively a change of zone of the entire rear property.
but I'm just wondering how that complies with the harmony.
You made fun of the word before, but now you think it makes a little sense.
No, now I like harmony.
Yeah.
Four factors that you were considering.
Yeah, that's something we have to consider, the harmonious nature. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Nick, Jordan.
Mr. Bozzella, I think I probably know the answer to this. It seems like council's really should be changing the zoning application. Why did you choose to do it? I guess probably not specific reason.
It was recommended to us by our architect, and also just in talking to the plan department, seemed the right way to go, particularly because there was a prior grant that granted this exact same relief. It is. So they actually
in
granted
terms of the request, it would be identical,
Right.
but again, it's a
It's on a
little bit
different
strange
plan.
because there was a much different plan at the time that the board was taking into consideration.
One other question, and how do we grant it if we don't know what the business is going to be, if it's going to be harmonious?
I mean, it'll be business district zoning, so again, if it's granted, in theory, anything that's allowed in business district would be as of right.
But you may not get the easement, then it's all academic.
You mean the decision? Yes. Well, that would entail joining the parking areas entirely, and also us making further changes to our site and the neighbor's site. So we need their buy-in to do that as well. My conversation with Mr. Keglian today, he was specifically looking for a cross-access easement in the back of his property. So if you look at a trapezoidal piece, you see it's probably 60 feet wide. He wanted basically a cross-access easement for his customers to exit on Garfield or to Montauk, and that was it. And he wanted further property from us to permit parking and a shared dumpster, because right now his dumpster is sitting in the trapezoidal area off his property. Yeah, sure. Well, if we don't get the easement, we can actually construct to the easement lines and basically give them the land effectively that way as well. Okay. All right, thank you. Yes. Yep. I keep busy. Yeah, tax season's coming. It's like I'm a masochist, what can I say? Yes. Yeah. I got the C. Oh, sorry? It was okay. I mean, I got my CPA license while I was in law school, which I don't recommend that, but I survived. And then, graduated, started my CPA firm, got my, passed the bar exam right after law school, and as of 2013, boom, I got both. A bit, yes. Yeah, I keep busy.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Costigan. My address is 39 Greenridge Avenue, Garden City, New York. I'm here representing my parents, James and Mary Costigan. They own the property that abuts the applicant's property on the western border. 265 West Main Street, Sable, New York.
That would be the
11782.
residential property, right?
I'm sorry?
That would be the residential property?
Yes, it is. It's the residential property. And we're here
It's this one.
to request that the board deny the application to extend the business use into the zoned residential area. Basically, what they've come before you to ask is that you allow them to replace the residential area with a commercial parking lot. Now, there has been several drawings. The most recent drawing doesn't specify the setback on the sides. The penultimate drawings do, 25 feet, which is basically a car length and a half, approximately. So what they're asking is for permission to take away this trapezoidal green space, which right now has no structures, natively planted, and to replace it with a commercial parking lot. They want 25 feet, they propose 25 feet on the western side, and approximately, again, it's not marked in the most recent drawings, but the drawings appear to be the same to me. They just removed the information about the borders, 25 feet above, to the west, and 25 feet to the back. And they also did not put in the line that shows the actual difference in the zonings where they're breaking forth. The vast majority of it. Almost the whole thing.
I mean, as far as, I wish I could bring up the current plan on it, I might be able to, but I don't. You can kind of see, if you're looking at the plan right now, where it's sort of indents, that's where the trapezoid is, so you just kind of take a straight line from there. So, yeah, I mean, a decent amount of their parking would be what's currently in that sort of
What
currently
they've done
split
is
zone
they've
area.
the building they're proposing is too big for their lot. And they're not here asking for a minor encroachment into residential area. They're asking to put nearly 50% of their parking lot and take up nearly 100% of the residential area with a commercial plot. It is. And they want to contain, he's been very clear, he wants to contain his parking lot for his businesses. That means they want to dump all this new traffic, day and evening, whatever, they won't say who's coming in, onto Garfield Avenue, and already an overstressed street in the area. And the congestion, the noise, the traffic, everybody knows, you don't have to go through it, what a commercial parking lot is, and the dumpsters and everything else. But basically, you were talking about it. This was a plan for the town. They wanted a setback, transition. And this isn't a minor encroachment. The previous one sort of was. They wanted a few extra parking spots. It was right up to the back of the existing zoning line. But they want 50% of their parking lot, and it'll take away the green space. It'll take away almost all of the residential area that was set forth with a purpose. So this will have a dramatic effect on the residents. Aside from the traffic and the noise, this is residential area green space, and now it's going to be a parking lot. That's going to affect property values and the use and enjoyment of the surrounding property. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ross Mittiga. I live on 96 Garfield Avenue, about halfway to Brook Street. And the issue I'd address is that Garfield is already used as a cut-through street from Brook to Montauk. I back into my driveway, so as I come out, I can look both ways, because quite often cars cut right down at a high rate of speed, let's say. If they're going to use Garfield as the entrance and exit to this area, it's going to complicate things further. We already have traffic from Bungers across the street, which they're pretty respectful about. And there's been more than one accident at that corner. from people pulling in or out of St. Lawrence, going the wrong way, cutting across. So that's my ultimate concern. And if I can get speed bumps in that street, I really like it, but that's another issue.
Hi, I'm Kathy Catrone. I live at 93 Garfield Avenue. And so there's a few things. And every few years we seem to come to the planning board and we have to talk about what someone wants to build in this particular site. In the past, Dunkin' Donuts wanted to build on this site, but they were denied access. And I guess that's what the easement is. Is that what that's called? Coming in and out of Garfield Avenue. So they ended up going a couple blocks further east. Right now, the Portly Villager, they already use that property for parking because there's very limited parking. And I guess you know as well, being an original owner of the Portly Villager, you know what that property entails. So also Bunger is a disaster. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we're screeching our brakes because these kids are on skateboards, in and out, surfboards, whatever. But you can see from the picture here, again, they're already parking on that lot. So there's a lot of activity at the end of that street, and we really need to think twice about it. Back in the day, there was a fire there, and apparently there was a dry cleaner. And from what I understand, 30 years later, the ground has never been cleaned. It's contaminated. You would be the better judge to tell me that if anything has gone on that we're unaware of, but that's just another issue surrounding that lot. Let me just park that property. Garfield. Yeah, I think that wraps it up.
Certainly. No, that's not us. I can tell, yeah. Well, as a practical matter, I question the characterization as this whole lot is pure green space. As was noted, there was a building on the site that was about 12,500 square feet that burned down roughly 30 years ago. So the green space has not always been green space. It certainly is. But also, looking at the plan itself, we're not demolishing the entire area. We actually have planted buffer zones of 25 feet as required. And indeed, in that trapezoidal area, we have approximately, I want to say it's about 6 parking spaces as it goes along that border there. The remainder of that area is actually left as green space. And then as to concerns regarding traffic on, yeah, that funny bit in the back there. Well, I'm speaking specifically just north of the Portly Villager. I want to reference that because that's the area that's immediately abutting. Right, yeah, that's the area that abuts the single-family residence, correct. Yeah, let's grab a pen in this jacket. Oh, I just took the area north of the Portly Villager, because that's the area that I'm talking about in terms of the green space. It's the parking area is everything's 25 feet south of the property line as it runs along. Well, it would be substantially smaller because we'd be losing roughly about 40% of your parking. So then the site wouldn't be viable. I mean, I'm looking at the, I think we're talking about buffer in different ways. So because of that, we have a common boundary line with a residence, we do have a 25-foot transitional buffer that we have to provide no matter what. And we provide that and actually more than that along much of the run over there. It's kind of an overgrown mess full of weeds and other garbage, honestly. It's greenish. Of a different sort, yeah. All right, thank you, Your Honors.
May I make an additional statement?
Just to quickly speak to the sort of the topic that was at hand there. He is correct. What they're proposing in terms of the residential buffers is the minimum requirement in that sense for business next to residential. The, I guess, part that's kind of complicated that the board needs to take into consideration is that the only way they could even get to the stage with which they can do these minimum residential buffers is with a depth extension, which goes beyond the 50 feet that would normally be just part of the special exception. So yes, and they would not need to go to the planning board based on their current proposal. They would have the buffers, these other residential buffer minimums. So really the question then becomes, to get those buffers and to also have adequate parking for their proposal, that's what they need to go into this area, this trapezoid being discussed, which is why I guess it's relevant to the special exception considerations. So yes, he mentioned that. He is correct. The residential buffer, as proposed, would be compliant. But to get there, that's what you need to consider with regards to the depth extension. Otherwise, they don't have the ability to even use this space.
I do. I just want to clarify, as I count them, there's 14 full parking spots that go beyond the current line of the commercial zone, plus whatever I'm not sure what the area is called between parking spots to allow car egress and ingress. That was all within the zone. There's also 3 or 4, from my recollection, partial parking spaces that it gets cut off, it's on an angle. So, and I think it extends far beyond the 50 feet that was talked about as the initial egress for whatever reason. So the numbers, just to clarify the record, it's not 3 spots, it's 14 plus partials. And and some partials, and yes, in addition to the 14, because it's a diagonal line, plus there's a considerable amount of free area for allowed cars to enter and exit those parking spaces, all within what is now the green space. That's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
I have one more clarifying point. I don't know if this needs to be clarified, but just to reiterate, it's currently a split zone property. So yes, this area is green space. If they don't get some way to change the zoning line here, whether that be change of zone or depth extension, it's not that they can't specifically utilize just that area for any kind of, parking or et cetera. They can't utilize the site as a business use, just period, because it's effectively zoned residential currently based on the split zoning.
Correct.
So it's not that this trapezoid is the only piece in question with regards to can they use that for their site, it's whether or not they can develop a business use here whatsoever.
Correct.
Currently, yes, that is the only thing they can do with that property. Just wanted to clarify that. I didn't know if that was clear to everybody.
Which, would the board require any further detail or information? I mean, that's the latest plan we have from our architect, yes. That was the last one that was submitted to planning and received positive comments. Correct, yes. Right. All right, thank you.
Just procedurally, how does that reserve decision, how does that work? procedurally, a reserved decision means what? Will be notified? You'll issue a decision? Thank you very much, and thank you all for your time and your considerable effort. Good night.
Philip and Sarah Ragusa. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated January 20, 2026, the application is denied on motion of
Motion. Second. Second. All in favor? Aye.
application number 683-25, Kelly Avilas. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated January 20, 2026, the application is granted. Bayshore on motion of
All in favor? Aye.
application number 688-25, Juan and Gloria Reyes. In accordance with the proposed written decision dated January 20, 2026, the application is granted as to the accessory apartment for a period of 3 years, granted the roofed-over patios and driveway, and denied the sheds and the 6-foot fence. On motion of?
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, everybody. That's a wrap.